It's more than a little humbling to be beneath your home at 7 a.m. on a cold morning. That's where I was this morning, checking the pipes. Unfortunately, the home that in which Kay and I reside is vintage 1929 and was obviously built for Lilliputians. And to say that it's a tight squeeze in certain places is not saying nearly enough. In fact, in some places, I'm having to cross at such a height that I'm on my elbows and on my knees completely stretched out. And I realized this morning as I was doing that, I have not been in that posture since I was low crawling beneath barbed wire with an M16. And I also realized as I was underneath the home, making sure that we were not having the great flood underneath there, that Kay had no idea where I was. So not only was I not getting credit for this good, this humble service, but also if I bumped my head and began to decline, she would not even know where I was. I was in secret, to say the least. But as I was kind of ranting up to heaven about this predicament, I heard the Lord say to me, "You're exactly where I want you. You're exactly where I want you. On your knees and on your elbows and in complete humility. You're exactly where I want you." I don't exaggerate there because that's the overwhelming sense that I received. The humility is the posture that God requires of me and you as we enter this season of Lent. Complete humility. And you may be saying, "Lord, have mercy, Patrick, haven't we had enough?" I mean, March 15th marks really the anniversary of the 12 months of coronavirus in San Antonio. That's when Josh and I made the decision that we would no longer do in-person worship. 12 long months, such that we no longer can go where we want to go, do what we want to do, or, most importantly, be with those with whom we'd like to be with, right? I mean, I praise God that we can worship outside, but I tell you, sometimes people have a mask on and I don't even know to whom I'm speaking. There has been tremendous isolation, and I feel humbled by the coronavirus. I feel humbled, and I sense my own mortality in the face of it. To think that with all our technology and so forth, that we can be brought completely down by a virus that traveled here from across the ocean. A virus that is more resilient than Muhammad Ali, changing and attacking us from different angles and different ways. And then there has been the political season that we've endured. And there have been times when we have questioned, we have doubted the strength of the flag for which this republic stands. And we think, "Lord, what has happened to this great nation?" And we have resorted to shaming and denouncing, to charging the nation's capital, things that just are beneath us. And it has humbled us as Americans. Not only because we see what we're doing to one another, but because the whole world looks at America for something better than that. And if that's not enough, we get slammed all of a sudden with weather that belongs up in Saskatchewan, but not here. And our people are sitting in the dark, and they're cold, and they're waiting on plumbers who won't come for a while, and the bills will be, exorbitant. And there we go. we have been humbled. But I want to tell you that is where we start with God. You know, when Jesus climbed up that grassy hillside in Galilee and he gathered the disciples close to him, but the people got within earshot, he told them, when you pray and when you give of your substance and when you fast, do not make a public deal out of it. You are doing those things for me. So do them in quiet, because it's all about your relationship with me. We do not own, we do not deserve, we do not have a single thing that has not been given to us. Not one thing. Today, when I finally came out from beneath the house, and in case, Kay was asking me about this and that, and I said, Kay, I want to tell you something. The only real thing that's essential in the house where I live? She said, no. I said, you? And I realized at that moment, she is sheer gift to me, given by God. I am humbled to think about that. And as you go through your own litany, you will see that everything has been given, so we quietly submit ourselves before God in humility and thank Him for what He's given us. And there's never too much to give back to Him. Never. There's no limit, because everything comes from Him. Those we love, this great nation, the roof over our heads, the church that He's given us, the friends, all gift. All gift. So we don't need to sound trumpets or make a big show. It's all about Him. The great thing about the coronavirus is it's made me have relationships with people around the country, and I teach a class on Thursdays, and a friend of mine from Tucson tunes in, and he sent me a quote from Benedict the other day, from Joan Chittister actually, commenting on Benedict, where she says, we always manifest humility in our bearings no less than in our hearts, so that it's evident. We always manifest humility in our bearing no less than in our hearts, so that it's evident. If we want to make disciples, if we want people to follow Jesus, if we want people to truly be converted, humility is the first step, and there's not enough of it. On Jesus' last day, his very last day of public ministry, some Greeks came along and said, we want to see Jesus. We want to see Jesus. And how interesting, Jesus turns and says, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains just a single grain. And you think at first he's only talking about himself. He's talking about us. Whosoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whosoever loses his life for my sake and for the gospel will save it. But there again, it takes humility, and it starts today.